Hey guys and gals, Steve here with you once again from the climb. Today we're going to be breaking away from the normal outdoorsy, fun-loving mood a bit and discussing something that's a bit more serious. I really hate doing these types of videos, but I honestly believe that this is some stuff that needs to come out and needs to be said. Now, unless you've been living under a rock for the last several years, you've probably noticed that the world has gone to hell in a handbasket. And I mean in a hard way. And a lot of people don't even see a light at the end of the tunnel at this point. The economy is a train wreck. Our government's screwing us left, right, and center. We're throwing billions of dollars into a war that isn't even our war. It's between Russia and the Ukraine, neither a G7 or a NATO country, but we're still funding the war while our own citizens are starving and homeless and can't get proper health care. They don't even know where their next meal is going to come from in some cases. And I believe that's wrong. The government and the mainstream media are constantly trying to cause division through pushing agendas one after the other. And while they have you distracted, basically they're implementing policies that are taking away your rights and your freedoms and your way of life. And a lot of people aren't even noticing that this is happening. And the current Canadian and American governments, in tandem with the WEF and the WHO, are basically using bash script, or the equivalent, to force policies on their citizens. And none of these policies are anything that's helping the actual Canadian and American citizens. I mean, I can speak for Canada especially. Now, they tell you that basically they're doing most of the stuff that they're doing for the environment and for acceptance and for equality and this dystopian future that's perfect and flowery and whatnot. But I can tell you from experience, I've been around a few years, and in the 70s and 80s, things were way better than they are now. Not just financially, not just jobs-wise, everything. I mean, back in the 70s and 80s, yes, we still had some hate and whatnot, but it wasn't to the degree and the extent that it is now. There wasn't this constant throwing around of terms like narcissist and, racist, sexist, and all of these other terms that they use, like misogynist. We got along very well. We treated our elders with respect. We treated women with respect. We used manners. And really, overall, we treated one another with respect. Yes, we had our qualms and our quarrels with people, but it was much better. So I'd really have to invite you to ask yourself, what is making everyone think it's better now? It's not. Okay? And you may be asking yourself, what does any of this have to do with like the outdoors or archery or hunting or any of the other things we typically discuss? Well, if you've been following the House meetings in Canada at all, you realize that while the government has had us distracted with the environment and COVID and monkeypox and all of these other things, with that hand distracting you, they've been using the other hand to take away your rights and your freedoms and your way of life. But they're doing it, well, initially they were doing it in small increments. But now they're just making it blatantly obvious and they don't even care. The government is telling you what you can do with your house, what you can do with your land, how many animals you can have, what you can read, what literature you are allowed to own, what words you can say, what words you can't say, what foods you have to eat, what kind of vehicle you have to drive. It's not their place. I'm sorry. And anyone that believes it is sorely misguided. The government didn't pay for your land. They didn't pay for your house. They didn't pay for anything in your house. So what gives them the right to tell you what to do with it? Not only did they not pay for it, you're still paying for other things such as taxes and permits and red tape fees of every shape, color, and size. So you own your house, you own your property, you have purchased these things. Why does the government believe they have the right to tell you what you can do with everything and to rule with every aspect of your life? I just simply don't understand. Now, if you look at the European Union, I mean, a lot of them have been forced out of their homes, basically priced out. They're being told that they have to upgrade things, environmental codes and whatnot. And some of these codes are so expensive, like upwards of $100,000, but they simply can't afford it and they lose their houses and have to move out. And when they move, they're being forced into these 15-minute cities, right, where you're renting apartments at ridiculous rates. And it's just no way for people to live. They're herding people like cattle at this point. And I just believe that people have to start taking their lives back. I'm not a politician. I never choose a party or vote based on party. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a conservative. I'm not an NDP or any of the other parties involved. I vote based on who I think that has the best platform at the time. And I think more people have to start doing this, because if not, you're not going to have any freedom left. The government would have you believe that they give you the freedom, they give you the liberty, they give you everything that you have, and that is simply not the case. You are born with rights, you are born with freedoms, you are born with everything that dictates who you are. The government didn't give you that. No one gave you that. You were born with rights. They are God-given rights from birth. The government didn't give them to you. Now, we have this slippery slope where we're probably going to have to wait till 2025 for an election, unless Jagmeet rolls over on Trudeau. Most of you are probably familiar with that at this point. Trudeau is essentially using Jagmeet Singh to keep in power, because that gives him a majority vote on everything. It also keeps him from being charged with essentially everything, because everything gets overruled. We all know Jagmeet Singh's underlying agenda, and his primary motive is to become prime minister, which is why he's backing Justin Trudeau, because I think he honestly believes that he has a shot at becoming prime minister. So he's continuing to back Trudeau, even though he doesn't agree with everything that Justin Trudeau is saying. But if he doesn't back him, obviously, he has no shot at becoming prime minister. I honestly believe that once he thinks he has a shot at being prime minister, he'll roll over on Justin Trudeau, at which point there will be an election called. And at that point, hopefully, people make the right choices on the ballot and vote for someone who's going to fight for their liberties, their freedoms, and protect them. It's what we need. Your government's there to support you, not the other way around. We voted them in, and they are representatives that we elect into office to look out for us. That is their job. They work for us. We do not work for them. Now, the way I see it basically is that, even if we have to wait until 2025 for an election, in the duration, the least we can do is keep fighting the battle for the freedoms and the way of life and our rights, and stop hating. Don't listen to the government and hate on each other. They're causing wedges to be driven everywhere between race, color, creed, sexual orientation. Don't let them do that. You decide who you like. You decide who you love. You decide where you want to be, who you want to be with. That's on you. Just because the government tells you a group of people is bad doesn't mean they're a bad group of people. Just because a group of people dresses a certain way doesn't mean they're bad people. But you have someone pushing an agenda along with the mainstream media, who is obviously government owned, and they're taking this group of people and this group of people and this group of people, and they're putting them in a bucket and putting the lid on, and they're shaking it until the people become violent, and they're essentially just killing each other off. And I don't know if it's entertainment for the government or if it's part of some bigger plan. I really don't care. Just stop hating on each other, man. Just love each other, get along, do what you can for one another, and we'll all get through this. So until next time, peace from the hill.